the Muppet Vlog. Now this time we're going to be looking into the 20th episode of Season 5 of The Muppet Show, which features the one and only Wally Boag. Now, if you have not heard of the name Wally Boag, then chances are you're probably not a Disney fan. Because when it comes to this episode in particular, they actually really brought in a unique performer here. This is not necessarily a singer or an actor. This is actually a Disneyland performer. He started out as a vaudeville performer, but then later, he would be hired by Walt himself in order to work at Disneyland at the Golden Horse Show Revue to be one of the main performers, but more namingly, Peso's Bill. And from there, he actually got a world record. He actually got into the Guinness World Record, or maybe it was the Golden Horseshoe Revue show, but they have been performing in over thousands and thousands of shows. Like, the number is either in the 5 or 6 digit marks in terms of how many performances that they have done. But on top of that, Wally Boag did leave his mark in other places around Disneyland, where he is actually the voice of Jose in the Enchanted Tiki Room, and also did lend a helping hand in the making of the Haunted Mansion. But his legacy did actually leave a huge impact, not just in the Disney crew, but also he was actually cited to be a huge influence. In fact, he would be considered an idol to Steve Martin. And when you look into the episode that he appeared in, it is actually quite interesting compared to the last one. If you guys remember, in the previous episode, it was more about the variety, and it's the same thing right here. There's no specific story that's going on, it's all about the variety. It's more about putting on a show, considering that in this one, it's all about paying homage to vaudeville, considering that they did have a vaudeville performer and someone who is a lot more comfortable performing on stage. But unlike last time, in the last episode, it just felt like a lot of the skits that they brought in, it just feels like something that I can describe as variety scraps, where they just mostly took stuff that would normally not be good enough for the show, but they decided to throw it in here. Well, they throw it in there, I mean. But in here, however, my god, it is fantastic, and it really works for what they were aiming for. Like Kermit said in the very beginning, this was a massive attempt to make a vaudeville show, and it really does succeed. Not just that, like, not just the fact that it feels like a great vaudeville show, but it still has that component of the Muppet Show, where some of the bits where it's just them, it starts out with the Flying Zucchini Brothers, and then they would land on the second act, which is Lottie Lemon and her singing wig. And then there's another one, which is one of my favorite bits in this episode, where you got Miss Piggy doing a dog act with Foo-Foo, where it would often change to a real dog and then the Muppet Foo-Foo. And on the side, you actually do have Rolf playing on the piano and also making remarks. And, like, the comedy that is involved in there is just absolutely fantastic. One of those bits that you definitely have to watch. It's just absolutely great. And then there's another one where you got the Swedish Chef, Beaker, and Animal, 3 of the most incomprehensible Muppets, where they're all singing Danny Boy. So they kind of have this little bit of the Leprechaun Brothers, and I don't think it's the only time that they would appear. I think there are some other moments where the Leprechaun Brothers would actually appear, but they would be singing Danny Boy, and then they would be singing it to the point that they would cry themselves out. And then another one is the Ying Tong song, which is more of a silly little bit where basically it's kind of like this Russian a Russian lullaby song, but the way that it's executed, it's like a massive cartoon, down to the point that they go full-on Tex Avery with explosions and just dropping safes on some other Muppets. And then there is like one more Muppets only bit was Dr. Salamander, where he would take Pops, since he decided to go on stage to get some sleep, and try to hypnotize him and to have him levitate. And that's another cute little bit right there. But then you have the aspects of Wally Boag. And my god, this is a special guest star that definitely knows what he's doing. Like, the magic that he would bring onto whichever stage he would be, whether it be at the Golden Horseshoe Review or even before the stage, before the days of Disney, where he would be in vaudeville. Like, he definitely brought it back to life, and it was definitely a lot of fun, where some of his signature performances are actually in here. Like, he starts out with a bunch of balloon animals, and in a way, it is more reminiscent to when Steve Martin is in here. And like I said in the beginning, Steve Martin was a huge, like, he was heavily inspired by Wally Boag, so like, we've already seen, like, the balloon animal bit with Steve Martin, but this one is, like, the real deal. This is, like, the original balloon animal bit, and watching him do all these different balloon animals, it definitely was a lot of fun. And then there was another one where Wally Boag would play with the bagpipes, and it does have a bit of the same kind of tone like we have with the balloon animals, except with this bit, he has... like he was playing with like he just has a bagpipe that's also a bit of a character on his own. And then the grand finale that we have in this one is actually a little bit from the Golden Horseshoe Review, which is Peso's Bill, where he would come in and try to portray as one of the greatest cowboys in the land, and also, like, whenever you would knock his face, like, he would end up spitting out hundreds of teeth. And, you know, it is actually really enjoyable just to see, like, a piece of the Golden Horseshoe to come on stage with the help, well, to come onto the screen with the help of the Muppets. In a way, it really does, you know, it really pleases the Disney side of me to see, like, a little piece of Disneyland coming to life onto this, and it really was a lot of fun. So, I would say that overall, this is easily one of the highlight episodes of this season. It was definitely a lot of fun. It definitely is more simple, considering it just focuses more on the variety and just putting on a show. There really isn't much going on backstage, but all the bits, they work out so well. They really are funny. They are really enjoyable, and especially the special guest star with Wally Boag. He was just a lot of fun to watch. So, not only is this, like, one of those episodes you gotta watch of The Muppet Show, but this is an absolute must-watch if you are a big Muppet fan. Especially if you're a fan of the Disney parks, then you gotta see this one, because this is literally the Muppets and crossing over with just some elements of the Golden Horseshoe Review, especially with bringing in Wally Boag. It was a lot of fun, and I honestly had a blast just watching it. But anyways, that is pretty much it for this episode of the Muppet Vlog, so I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see if we will have as much fun as we did on this episode, and maybe, well, not necessarily have a bit of a Disneyland connection, but hopefully the enjoyment will still be there in the next episode, but we will only know until next time, so... see you later, dudes!